Hey guys, what's up? This is Koganinja, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about a very controversial subject. And this is a warning to everybody out there who is a dice controller and for all the new guys that are coming into dice control. There's something that you guys need to be aware of. Now, what am I talking about in this video? What I'm going to be talking to you about is a controversial subject that is known as unbalanced dice, or what is known as biased dice. Now, what is unbalanced dice or biased dice? Let me explain. Unbiased dice are dice that are biased dice are dice that are unbalanced and favor specific numbers. The majority of the time when you experience or come across bad dice, most of the time the number that it's going to be biased toward is the 6. And what that means is, if you have dice that are biased to the 6, you're going to end up with more 6-1-7 outs than you could ever possibly imagine. It's a very unfortunate fact, but that is the reality of dice control as we know it today, because of the bad dice that are being used in the casinos. Let me get into this. Let me explain everything to you, how everything transpired. And then once I am done, I will direct you to where you can see all this information. And it'll be up to you to decide what you want to do with dice control and how you want to approach dice control or the game of craps in live casinos. All right, so let's get into it right now. Unbalanced dice or biased dice was something that was discovered years ago by a guy who runs a website and his name is Harley Horn. And he discovered that dice are being used in casinos that favor certain numbers. In other words, they're unbalanced and they produce certain numbers. And like I said, most of the time that this happens, when you do run across them, you will see that the favor is toward the 6. And that produces a lot of 6-1-7 outs. So this guy Harley, and his information to his website and everything will be down in the video description. You can read all about you can go to his websites and check out about everything that he's talking about. When I got into dice control and I was doing all of my research into dice control, I discovered these websites and I couldn't believe it myself. I was like, nah, this is not true. Why would the casinos use inferior dice? And that would possibly have them lose their license, etc., etc., etc. Well, needless to say, none of that really, they're not going to lose their licenses. That's just the way it is. But it's very unfortunate. Yes, unbalanced or biased dice do exist. And we as the player, the customer, we have to suffer through it. It's just a reality. It's just the facts. Now, when I discovered this website, I couldn't believe what I was seeing personally. And I ended up doing my own research into it. And I investigated unbalanced dice for probably, I don't know, 6 months, maybe something like that, 6 to 8 months. I'm not really sure. And what I ended up finding was that yes, unbalanced dice do exist. It does affect the game as we know it. And I ended up producing a 15-part video series, and I released it to the craps community, and this happened probably 6 years ago. And when the information came out, I ended up becoming the kicking boy. So I talk about receiving hate. I received every possible amount of hate that you can think of. I mean, the shit hit the fan when this came out. People were talking about it in forums and telling me that I was full of shit. I didn't know what I was talking about. And this guy that discovered all this stuff, he was full of shit too. And I shouldn't have been investigating this stuff because it just made me look stupid and all of this crap. I mean, all the worst hate you could imagine was thrown at me, which was really sad because when I released this video series, it was not for any other reason but just to let other fellow craps players know that there's a problem with the dice, and if you come across them, just be aware of them, and maybe it would be time to walk away from the table when things are not working out, when you know that the dice are being favored to certain particular numbers. It just got really bad. It created so much hate, and people. I mean, I became the kicking boy basically, and it was like a situation where, don't kill the messenger. Well, they didn't kill the messenger; they slaughtered the messenger, which was very unfortunate. And it was because of this 15-part video series that I put out, showing my findings that yes, unbalanced dice do exist. And it's just an unfortunate reality that we as dice controllers, we have to deal with. Anyway, once this got out and there was tons of controversy and people were talking about it in all the different forums, people were saying that I was full of crap and all this stuff. One particular guy stepped forward and basically tried to prove my findings incorrect. He basically said, no, this is not true. And he invested a lot of money into his own research to try to debunk what I had originally found out. And needless to say, he ended up finding out himself that there are unbalanced dice, and it was through all his own investigation, and he realized it, and it actually happened in a public forum when this reality came to be. And so, yeah, it was kind of it was not very good for him, because he was kind of like, the poster boy for like, no, there's no such thing as unbalanced dice. The casinos play fair with their customers. Well, the reality is he found out that wasn't the case. Now, when this happened, when all this was going on, I had originally had these videos. I had these videos on my YouTube channel. This was 6 years ago, like I said. But it got so bad, the situation got so bad, that I pulled these videos down off of my channel and removed them, because I didn't want YouTube to come down on me for whatever reason and blacklist my channel. So I just removed them to avoid all the controversy. And at that point, after all this had happened, I already had stated my case. I already had proved to myself, really, that yeah, unbalanced dice do exist. They're out there. You will eventually encounter them at some point. I got to that point and didn't want to have anything else to do with it anymore. And so I washed my hands of it, took the videos off of my YouTube channel, and placed them on another video platform. And that was it. I forgot about it. I was done with it. I ended up creating as I was creating my curriculum and developing my controlled throw, I ended up developing it so that it would help alleviate and eliminate the effect of bad dice, and to level the playing field when I encountered bad dice. So that is actually what. So when you come and train with me, and you train and learn my Shinobi Master level material, you're actually learning a shot that is the technology is built into the throw. The technology is built into the throw so that it helps you beat bad dice. It helps you eliminate the effect of bad dice. It helps you level the playing field so that you have a better chance of winning against the casinos. Now, as I was, I'm just going to tell you just a couple of little funny stories. But one time about bad dice, one time I was in a casino and I was just happening to, I had just finished eating and I went down to the craps table just to see what was going on. I wasn't playing or anything. And this was a weekend. And and I was watching the table, and this guy was standing next to me, and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh no, man, what's up?" And he's like, "Are you gonna play? Are you waiting for a spot?" And I said, "No, I'm just chilling. So you're next in line," because the table was really full at that point. While as we were watching, we could hear 7 out, 7 out, 7 out, and of course we're looking, and almost every 7 out that was happening was a 6-1 7 out. And it was so funny because he responded to me and goes, "I've been here and this was a Saturday." He goes, "I've been here since Tuesday, and I've yet to see a 5-2 7 out or a 3-4 7 out." And he just blurted that out of nowhere. I didn't ask him anything about it. We weren't talking about the subject matter, nothing. He just blurted it out. "Yeah, I've been here since Tuesday and I've yet to see anything other than a 6-1 7 out. I wonder why that is." True story, really happened. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And so anyway, that was one little incident that I saw that was, that kind of confirms everything that I had already learned, years back. The other little story I'll tell you was, there used to be a guy in town that used to sell online a betting strategy, actually a pretty good one, but it was just a betting strategy. It wasn't a controlled throw. It was just a particular way of placing bets and winning money. And it just happened to be that I was standing right behind him at the table at one of the casinos. And when he turned around, I recognized him because he had a picture on his website. So I recognized who he was. And he had been around the casinos for a long time. He was a dealer at one point, so people knew who he was. He had just wrote a really cool booklet on how to bet the game of craps, and it was like his little methodology for betting, and it was a good one, really, because I saw how it worked. I saw what he was doing, and I was like, yeah, that works. But it only worked when the dice were rolling good. And then, and of course, he had a little thing set up where he would take people out and help them play. And, it was like, I'll go out to the casino with you and we can play together and I'll help you out. And, he was a coach, basically. So it ended up that I noticed him and I was like, yeah. And so as soon as he turned around, because he went, crap, because there was a 6-1 7 out. And he had some money on the table, him and this guy that he was training. And he ended up 70 out, and he's like, God dang it, this really sucks. And I said, what sucks? And he goes, man, I don't know what it is, but I can't win money like I used to. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, 5-6 years ago, I could walk into a casino and walk out with $5,000 in a matter of a couple hours. I can't do that anymore. For some reason, the dice don't want to seem to roll past 20 rolls or 15 rolls. It's always these really short rolls, and it's always a quick 7 out. Now he didn't state a specifically 6-1 7 out. He just said that for the last 5 years, he hadn't experienced any super long rolls like he had did 6, 7, 8 years ago. And that playing now in the casinos was a whole different story because the rolls were always very short. And when he said that, I was like, oh, wow. And I knew, and I wanted to tell the guy, hey, come over here, let me talk to you, let me put something in your ear, but I didn't. I just left it alone, essentially. But he knew himself that something was wrong with the dice. So 2 funny little stories in that regard. Now, now let's get into the second part of this. Why am I bringing this up now? Why am I bringing up a subject matter that I buried and washed my hands of it because I didn't want to have to deal with it anymore 6 years ago, and I'm now bringing it back? Why is that? Now, and it's for 2 reasons. The first reason is because over the last 4 years, there's been all these new videos that have popped up on YouTube, and guys are, teaching and showing what they're doing when it comes to dice control. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these new throws that are being shown on the internet, they're not thoroughly worked out, they're not thoroughly field tested. And when you have shots like that and you come up against a case of bad dice, or a situation where there's bad dice on the table, you're going to get your ass handed to you, and you're going to lose your bankroll. And it usually happens when you least expect it. You learn something new on the internet, you're like, yeah, and you're like, woohoo, I can kick ass now. And yeah, you go out and you win 3, 4, 5 times and everything's great. And you're like, yeah, I've won $3,000, $4,000 over the last 10 days, and all of a sudden you get out there and you're using these control throws that you see on the internet that have been working for you for a while, and then all of a sudden they stop working. And then you get so frustrated, and so you keep fighting against the grain to make it work, and all of a sudden by the time you realize it, and by the time you pull your head out of your butt, you've lost your bankroll. And you can't figure out why. The rug literally got pulled out from under you, and you can't seem to understand or figure out why. Well, the reason why is I can almost guarantee you with 90% accuracy that the reason that you lost is because you got affected with the bad dice and you didn't realize that you were on a table that had bad dice. That's the way it is, guys. And this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. And it's very unfortunate that all this stuff, all these new, it's very unfortunate that we can't play a fair game, essentially. It's really sad, but it is for this reason, this main reason, first main reason is why I'm bringing this up. Now, the second reason that I'm bringing this up is because as of late, there has been on a couple of the videos, this was brought to my attention by another buddy of mine, and he said that he had brought me to the attention of a video by one of the new guys that have been posting that there are dice that now people are discovering that there are dice that are actually weighted different, meaning you might have a blue dice and a red die, and then if you put them on a scale, they're actually weighted differently. Let me tell you guys, this is not a mystery. Dice do weigh differently. They are not the same straight across the board, and you guys are just now figuring this out. I've known about this for 6 years already. This is old knowledge to me. The fact that each dice are heavier from batch to batch, color to color. Absolutely, that's a fact. And also, dice are not the same size all the way across the board. There is no universal standard for dice being the exact same weight and being the exact same size. There are different sizes of dice, and then there are different weights of dice. This is a fact that I've known about for over 6 years already. This is old news to me. And some of these new guys are just now beginning to figure this out. And the speculation was that if you have heavier dice, that it's going to throw your shot off and you'll probably end up 7ing out a lot faster. Well, yeah, that's a reality. Yes, that's a fact, but it's not really that. What really is going to put you over what's really going to put you out of the game is you're consistently 7ing out because you may be at a table that has bad dice on it. Might have bad dice on the tables, and that is what's going to screw you up, not the weight of the dice or the size of the dice. I mean, I've experienced that to where, you have different size dice, that's happened. But it's very rare that happens. What you'll encounter far more frequently will be the fact that the dice are unbalanced. That is what you're going to end up encountering more than anything. But yes, dice are are weighted differently, and yes, dice are different sizes. Absolutely. It is unfortunate, but as a player, we cannot. It's very rare that we will find a table that has fair dice. Why is that? The reason why is because all the dice that are coming into the casinos, specifically here in the city of Las Vegas, the reason that these dice we get a lot of bad dice in on the tables is simply because of the manufacturing process. The manufacturing process is very, very shoddy. The tolerances are completely different all the time. From one batch to the next, and this is what causes these imbalances. That is why. It's not that the casinos are purposely putting in these bad dice and taking our money away. It's not, in my opinion, that's not what this is about. It's about that they are buying really bad dice from really shoddy either Chinese companies or Mexican dice manufacturers that are out of Mexico, and they're, like I said, their tolerances aren't that great. Now, if you were a casino, would you buy for every 5 dice? Would you, for literally perfectly balanced dice? Would you pay $20 a stick wholesale, or would you pay $2 a stick wholesale? I mean, do the math. Of course, anybody that runs a business is always going to run and get the lowest amount on their supplies. So do you think the casinos are going to invest in $20 sticks of dice? No, they're going to go with the $2 sticks of dice. Long as the dice are square all the way around, and that's pretty much all the testing that needs to be done, as long as the dice are completely squared all the way around. Now, if you go to a state like Colorado, that's a different story. The state of Colorado is the only state that has legal fair dice, and you can actually, if you're on the table, if you suspect that the dice are imbalanced, you can actually call and have those dice inspected for balance, and they will actually pull the dice off the table and spin them literally on a spinner to see if they are affected with a bias. You try that here in Las Vegas, they'll laugh at you. They'll straight up laugh at you. That's a reality. It's unfortunate, but in the city of Las Vegas, you will encounter bad dice. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to encounter bad dice all the time, but you're going to encounter bad dice more than 50% of the time. I can almost guarantee that. So those are the 2 reasons why I'm bringing this up now, guys. And that is because a lot of new videos have popped up. Guys are coming into dice control in droves. They think that this is the easiest thing to do. And they learn all these rhythm rolls off of the internet, and they think that they're going to win big money, and then the reality is they end up losing, and then they end up consistently losing, and then they don't know why. That is why I'm talking about bad dice 6 years after the fact, when I first brought it to the craps community's attention with this video series that I produced.
there it is, guys. It's just, that is the way it is. That here in Nevada, this is it's a sad, unfortunate fact. Again, this is a warning to you guys to be aware that, yeah, there will be times where you're going to be encountering bad dice, and no matter what you try, technique-wise, you're going to fail 98% of the time. I mean, that's just the way it is. And that is when you got to know, you know what, it's time to walk away. Now, where can you find out this information that I'm talking about, this 15-part video series that I created over 6 years ago? You can find this video series on dailymotion.com. It's another video platform similar to YouTube. You can't do any kind of posting or comments on it. It's just a platform where you can see videos. It's www.dailymotion.com. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. Use the search words unbalanced dice. Use those two search words. Do not use anything else because it will not come up. Unbalanced dice. When the videos pop up, you will see the uploader is LV Bear Growls, and you'll see a picture of a bear like this. Okay, that is when you know that you've found the right videos. Check out those videos, go through them. There's 15 of them. It will really open your eyes to the existence of unbalanced dice that are being used in the casinos, and it'll be up to you to decide what you want to do with the information. Please do not reach out to me concerning the subject matter. I will not answer any questions. If you ask me, hey, where can I go to play where the dice are fair, I'm not going to tell you stuff like that. That is going to be up to you to go through the course, learn the material, and it'll be up to you to figure out how you want to approach this. If you decide, hey, I want to learn your Shinobi Master level material, hit me up at Koganinja777@yahoo.com. I'll send you all the information, and then you can come out and train with me in a group seminar situation, a video conferencing situation, or a private one-on-one situation. But I'm not going to be answering questions on this subject matter. I've washed my hands of it. Like I said, the only reason I'm bringing this up now is because of all the new guys, and I don't want the new guys to lose their shirts, get their asses handed to them. And I guarantee you will experience bad dice. It will eventually happen. You will see it with your own eyes. It's very unfortunate, but that's the reality. The comment section on this video will be disabled. I will not allow people to post on this video for any reason. Like I said, and if you have any questions, please refrain from reaching out to me because, like, specifically, if you're going to ask me what casinos have good dice and which have bad dice, if you ask me that, I am not going to respond to you. That email will end up in the trash. There you go, guys. That's the reality. If you want to learn a shot that has the technology built into it to help alleviate and beat bad dice, to give you a more honest game, reach out to me at Koganinja777@yahoo.com so you can attend my Shinobi Master level course. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to this video, watching this video. Yes, it was a long one, but this is probably the most important video on dice control in all of YouTube. That's absolutely correct, guys. Yes, I said it. This is probably the most important video that you will ever see out of every video that's on YouTube that has to do with the art of dice control. All right, guys, thanks so much. This is Koganinja. I'm out.